The human spaceship Horizon floated in the darkness of space. Captain Hyun stood on the bridge looking at the strange planet on the main screen. It glowed with blue and purple lights, unlike any world they had seen before. "Are you sure they want to talk to us?" he asked, turning to Officer Aaron. Aaron nodded. Her dark hair was tied back neatly, and her uniform was perfectly pressed. "Yes, Captain. The Kiri sent another message. They are ready to meet humans for the first time." This was a big moment. Humans had never met aliens before. The Kiri were the first non-human life they had found in their travels among the stars. "Tell the landing team to get ready," Captain Hyun said. "You and I will lead the first meeting." The ship's engine hummed softly as they prepared to go down to the planet. Dr. G, the person who studied alien life, was checking her tools. "Remember," she said to the team, "the Kiri are very different from us. They are made of crystal, not flesh. They might not understand our ways." Lieutenant Day checked the weapons one last time. "I hope we don't need these," he said, "but I like to be ready." The small landing ship took them down through the purple clouds to the surface of the Kiri world. When they stepped out, they saw tall towers made of crystal. The buildings caught the light of the planet's 3 suns and broke it into thousands of colors. A group of Kiri waited for them. They were tall beings with bodies that looked like clear glass with purple and blue light moving inside them. They had no faces, just smooth crystal surfaces where a head would be. "Welcome to our world," said one of the Kiri. The words did not come from a mouth but seemed to form in the humans' minds. "I am the voice of the High Council." Captain Hyun stepped forward. "Thank you for your welcome. We come in peace from planet Earth." The voice led them through a city of crystal. Other Kiri stopped to watch the humans walk by. Some made soft bell-like sounds that might have been talking or laughing. "They seem friendly," whispered Aaron to Captain Hyun. "Let's hope they stay that way," he answered. The High Council chamber was a large room with 7 tall Kiri seated in a half-circle. Their bodies glowed brighter than the others they had seen. "The Harmonizer will speak with you now," said the voice, stepping back. The middle Kiri, taller than the rest, moved forward. Light pulsed through its body in waves. "We have watched your ship for many days," the Harmonizer said. "We wish to know more about your kind." "We are honored," said Captain Hyun. "We also want to learn about the Kiri." For hours they talked. The humans explained where they came from. The Kiri told them about their crystal world. Things seemed to be going well. Then something unexpected happened. Aaron moved closer to look at a beautiful crystal formation. "This is amazing," she said, reaching out to touch it. "Please be careful," the voice warned, but it was too late. The sharp edge of the crystal cut Aaron's hand. She pulled back quickly. "I'm sorry," she said, looking at the small cut on her palm. The room became very quiet. All the Kiri were staring at her hand. "Where is your life essence?" asked the Harmonizer, moving closer. Captain Hyun was confused. "What do you mean?" "When we are damaged, our life essence appears," said the Harmonizer. As if to show them, the Harmonizer touched a sharp crystal, and a glittering blue substance appeared where its body was cut. "She is damaged, but shows no life essence," said one of the council members. "How can this be?" Dr. G stepped forward. "Our blood is inside our bodies. We don't bleed much from small cuts." The Kiri moved back from the humans. They began making sharp ringing sounds to each other. "They're afraid," Lieutenant Day said quietly. "They don't understand us." The Harmonizer's light pulsed quickly, showing its excitement or worry. "You are not what you appear to be," it said to the humans. "True living beings show their life essence when damaged. You show nothing." Captain Hyun tried to explain. "Our bodies are different from yours, but we are alive. You are hollow," said the Harmonizer, cutting him off. "You are constructs, empty shells." "What?" Aaron looked shocked. "No, we're real, we're alive." The Kiri council members were all making the sharp ringing sounds now. The voice translated for the humans. "The council believes you are machines," it said. Advanced robots sent by real living beings from somewhere else. Dr. G tried again. We can show you our blood if you need to see it. We can explain our biology. Programmed responses, said the harmonizer. Clever, but not life. Captain Hyun could see this was going badly. We are not machines. We are living, beings like you, just different. Take the empty ones to the study chamber, the harmonizer ordered. We must learn what they are and who sent them. Guards surrounded the human team. Their crystal bodies glowed red now instead of blue. Captain? Aaron looked worried. What do we do? Lieutenant Day reached for his weapon, but Captain Hyun stopped him. No, he said. We don't want to start a fight. We'll go with them and keep trying to explain. As they were led away, Captain Hyun heard the Kiri council members talking. The voice translated quietly. The empty ones are strange. Do they think we would believe their trick? They have no resonance, no life song, no bleeding, no life essence. Be careful. Their real masters may be watching. The humans were taken to a large room with crystal walls. The door closed behind them, trapping them inside. Captain, they think we're robots, Aaron said, looking at the small cut on her hand. It had already stopped bleeding. This is bad, said Dr. G. Their whole idea of life is based on seeing that glittering substance they release. To them, if you can't bleed visibly, you're not alive. Captain Hyun looked around at their crystal prison. Somehow, they needed to prove they were real, living beings. But how could they convince aliens who saw the world so differently? We need to contact the ship, he said. Tell them what's happening. And we need to find a way to show the Kiri that we're alive. Outside their room, they could hear the ringing sounds of Kiri talking. And somewhere the harmonizer was deciding what to do with these strange creatures that couldn't bleed. The crystal room was cold and quiet. Captain Hyun sat on the hard floor with his team around him. They had been trapped for 3 hours now. Any luck with the communicator? He asked Lieutenant Day. Day shook his head. The crystal walls are blocking our signals. The ship can't hear us. Outside their prison, they could see Kiri guards standing watch. The alien beings glowed with a steady red light, showing they were alert and ready for trouble. Dr. G was studying the walls carefully. She ran her hands over the smooth crystal surface. This is incredible, she said. The whole room is made from one giant crystal. I can feel vibrations moving through it. What kind of vibrations? Asked Captain Hyun. Everything. Our voices, our footsteps, even our heartbeats. The crystal carries all these sounds through the walls? Aaron looked worried. So they can hear everything we say? Probably. But that's not the strangest part. Dr. G pressed her ear to the wall. I think they use vibrations to talk to each other. Not just the words in our heads, but actual sound waves moving through the crystal. Captain Hyun thought about this. That might be why they don't understand us. They experience the world differently than we do. Footsteps echoed in the hallway outside. Several Kiri approached their cell. The harmonizer was with them, along with 2 others the humans had not seen before. The empty ones will come with us, said the harmonizer through the crystal door. Where are you taking us? Captain Hyun demanded. To the study chamber. We must learn what you are. The door opened with a soft ringing sound. The guards surrounded the humans and led them down a long corridor. The walls were covered with strange patterns that glowed and shifted as they walked past. Those patterns, whispered Dr. G to Aaron, they're reacting to us somehow. The study chamber was filled with equipment the humans did not recognize. Crystal structures of different sizes hummed with energy. In the center of the room was a large platform. Stand there, ordered one of the new Kiri. This one was shorter than the harmonizer but glowed with a brighter white light. I am the mind. Seeker, it said. I study all forms of thought and consciousness. The humans stepped onto the platform. Immediately, lights began flashing around them. The crystal equipment made soft musical sounds. Interesting, said the mind seeker. They produce vibrations, but not the right kind. What do you mean? Asked the harmonizer. All living beings have a life song, a vibration that shows their consciousness. These creatures make sounds, but they have no song. Dr. G couldn't stay quiet any longer. We do have consciousness. We think and feel just like you do. The mind seeker turned toward her. Prove it. How can we prove something you refuse to? See? Show us your life essence. Bleed for us. Sing your life song. Dr. G rolled up her sleeve and showed them her arm. Our blood is inside our bodies. We don't bleed unless we're badly hurt. She pressed hard on a sharp edge of the platform until a drop of red blood appeared on her finger. See? This is our life essence. It's red, not blue like yours, but it's still blood. The three Kiri moved closer to look. The harmonizer's light pulsed quickly. The liquid is too small, it said, and it does not glow. How can this tiny amount sustain life? We have lots of blood inside us, Lieutenant Day explained. About 5 liters in each person. Hidden blood? The mind seeker sounded confused. Why would living beings hide their life essence? It's not hidden on purpose, said Captain Hyun. Our skin protects the blood inside our bodies. The Kiri made those sharp, ringing sounds again. They were clearly talking to each other, but the humans could not understand. After a few minutes, the harmonizer spoke again. We have decided. You are advanced machines designed to mimic life. Your creators made you very well, but you are still empty inside. That's not true, Aaron shouted. We're as alive as you are. Machines can be programmed to say that, said the mind seeker, but they cannot feel real emotions or create true thoughts. Dr. G tried a different approach. What if I could prove we feel emotions? Would that change your mind? How would you do this? Let me show you sadness. Dr. G closed her eyes and thought about her family back on Earth. Tears began to form in her eyes. The Kiri watched as the tears rolled down her face. Salt water, said the mind seeker after examining a tear. Another clever trick. But machines can produce any liquid they are designed to make. Captain Hyun was getting frustrated. What would convince you that we're alive? True life resonates, said the harmonizer. It creates vibrations that match the frequency of consciousness. You make noise, but you have no song. The guards led them back to their crystal prison. As they walked, Dr. G noticed something strange. Every time they passed certain crystal formations in the walls, the patterns would change slightly. Back in their cell, the team sat in discouraged silence. They're not going to believe us, said Aaron, no matter what we show them. There has to be a way, said Captain Hyun. Dr. G, you said they use vibrations to communicate. What exactly did you mean? Dr. G thought carefully. It's like they experience emotions and thoughts as actual sounds. When the harmonizer was angry, its light pulsed faster, and the crystal walls around us vibrated differently. So they literally hear feelings? I think so. To them, consciousness isn't just thinking. It's making the right kind of music. Lieutenant Day looked up suddenly. Music? What about Songmi? What about her? Asked Captain Hyun. She's our communications officer, but before she joined the space program, she was a professional musician. She studied how sound and emotion work together. Dr. G's eyes lit up. That might be exactly what we need. If the Kiri experience consciousness as vibration and music, maybe Songmi could find a way to communicate with them. But she's still on the ship, said Aaron. We can't contact them. Captain Hyun stood up and walked to the crystal wall. He began tapping on it in a pattern. 3 short taps, 3 long taps, 3 short taps. Morse code, he explained. If the vibrations really do carry through the crystal, and if Songmi is listening, she might hear this. They waited. Minutes passed. Then faintly they heard an answering pattern tapped back from somewhere far away. She heard us, whispered Day. Captain Hyun began tapping out a longer message. Letter by letter, he spelled out their situation and their idea about music. Meanwhile, the Kiri guards outside were starting to notice the strange rhythmic sounds coming from the human prison. They began to glow brighter, alert to this new development. Time was running out, but maybe Songmi could find a way to prove that humans were more than just empty machines. On the ship horizon, Songmi sat at her communication station. She had been listening to the strange tapping sounds coming from the planet for an hour now. At first, she thought it was just noise from the Kiri city. Then she realized it was Morse code. Song-mi was a small woman with gentle eyes and quick hands. Before joining the space program, she had played violin in concert halls across Earth. Music was her first language, but she had learned to speak. With radio waves and computer signals, too. She decoded Captain Hyun's message slowly. When she understood what had happened to the landing team, her heart started beating faster. "Commander Park," she called to the officer in charge of the ship. "I'm getting a message from the surface. The captain and his team are in trouble." Commander Park hurried over to her station. "What kind of trouble?" "The aliens think our people are machines because they don't bleed the right way. They're being held prisoner." Song-mi showed him the decoded message. Commander Park read it twice, frowning. "They want you to try communicating through music?" he asked. "The captain thinks the aliens understand consciousness through sound and vibration. Maybe I can reach them in a way our scientists cannot." Commander Park was quiet for a moment. He knew about Song-mi's background. She had given up a successful music career to explore space. "What do you need?" he asked. "Permission to try something that might sound crazy." "Do it." Song-mi went to her quarters and got her violin. She had brought it on the mission even though there was little time for music in space. Now she was glad she had it. Back at her station, she connected the violin's pickup to the ship's communication system. If sound really did travel through the crystal structures on the planet, maybe she could send music down to the Kiri. She started with simple notes, low, clear tones that would carry well through crystal. She played for 10 minutes, then stopped and listened. Nothing came back. Song-mi tried again, this time playing higher notes. Still nothing. Then she remembered something her grandmother had taught her long ago. When Song-mi was a child, her grandmother would sing old Korean lullabies to help her sleep. One song in particular had always made her feel safe and loved. Song-mi put down her violin and began to hum the lullaby. It was a simple melody, but it carried all the warmth of childhood memories. Suddenly, her communication equipment started picking up strange signals from the planet. The crystal towers were vibrating in response to her humming. Down on the surface, the Kiri guards outside the human prison stopped moving. The walls around the captives began to glow with soft, pulsing light. "What's happening?" asked Aaron, looking at the changing colors in the crystal. Dr. G pressed her ear to the wall again. "Someone's singing. Very faintly, but I can hear it." Captain Hyun smiled. "Song-mi got our message." The humming continued for several minutes, and the crystal walls kept responding. Other Kiri in the city began to notice too. The song was unlike anything they had ever heard, but it felt familiar somehow. On the ship, Song-mi realized she was getting through. She began to sing the words of the lullaby in Korean, her voice soft and clear. The effect was immediate. Throughout the Kiri city, crystal structures began to resonate with her voice. The aliens stopped their daily activities to listen to this strange new sound. In the High Council chamber, the harmonizer felt vibrations unlike anything in its long life. The sound was coming from above, from the human ship, but it was not like the mechanical signals they had intercepted before. "Gather the council," the harmonizer ordered. "Something has changed." Song-mi sang for 20 minutes, then stopped. She waited, listening carefully to her equipment. Slowly, a response came from the planet. Not words, but pure musical tones. The Kiri were trying to sing back to her. She smiled and began the lullaby again, this time playing her violin along with her voice. The combination of human voice and stringed instrument created harmonies that made the entire Kiri city ring like a giant bell. In their crystal prison, the humans could feel the walls vibrating around them. The sound was beautiful and sad at the same time. "She's telling them we're alive," whispered Dr. G. Not with words, but with feeling. The Kiri guards were no longer watching the prisoners. They were listening to the music, their crystal bodies glowing brighter with each note. Soon, footsteps echoed in the corridor. The harmonizer approached with several council members. Their light was different now, softer and more curious than before. Where is this sound coming from? The harmonizer asked through the crystal door. From our ship, said Captain Hyun. One of our crew members is a musician. Musician? Someone who creates organized sound to express emotion and beauty. The harmonizer was quiet for a long moment. This sound, it has patterns we recognize, but it is not Kiri music. No, said Dr. G. It's human music. Music that comes from our hearts and minds. Machines cannot create such vibrations, said one of the council members. This sound has life in it. The harmonizer's light pulsed slowly. We must hear more. Bring the empty ones. Bring the humans to the council chamber. As they were led, through the crystal city, the humans could see that everything had changed. The Kiri were gathered in groups listening to Songmi's distant music. Some were even trying to hum along with the melody. In the council chamber, the harmonizer spoke directly to Captain Hyun. Your musician. Can she come here? Can she sing to us in person? I don't know if it's safe, said Captain Hyun. You still think we might be machines. The vibrations from above, they contain something we have never heard from artificial beings. They speak of memory, of love, of loss. How can machines know these things? Dr. G stepped forward. Because we're not machines. We're living beings with feelings and memories just like you. Perhaps, said the harmonizer. But we must be certain. Bring your musician here. Let her sing the life song of your people. If it truly carries consciousness, we will know. Captain Hyun tapped out another message on the crystal floor. This time, his request was more urgent. They needed Songmi to come down to the planet. Everything depended on her music now. Up on the ship, Songmi received the message. Commander Park read it over her shoulder. They want you to go down there alone? He asked. Songmi nodded. It's the only way to prove we're alive. It's too dangerous. What if they hurt you? Songmi picked up her violin and checked the strings. Music is the universal language, she said. If I can't reach them with this, then nothing will. She looked out at the crystal planet glowing in the darkness of space. Somewhere down there, her friends were counting on her to sing them free. Prepare a shuttle, she told Commander Park. I'm going to give the Kiri a concert they'll never forget. Songmi's small shuttle landed softly on the crystal platform outside the Kiri city. She sat in the pilot's seat for a moment, holding her violin case tightly. Her hands were shaking, but not from fear. She was excited. Through the shuttle's window, she could see dozens of Kiri waiting for her. Their crystal bodies glowed with different colors now, blues and purples instead of the angry red from before. They were curious about this human who could make music. Songmi stepped out of the shuttle. The three suns of the Kiri world made the crystal city sparkle like a giant jewel. The beauty of it took her breath away. Welcome, music maker, said the voice of the High Council approaching her. The harmonizer waits to hear your life song. Thank you, Songmi replied. Where are my friends? They are safe. They watch from the council chamber. Come. As they walked through the city, Songmi noticed that every Kiri they passed was humming softly. They were trying to copy the lullaby she had sung from the ship. The sound of dozens of crystal beings humming together created beautiful echoes between the towers. They like the song, she said to the voice. It speaks to something deep in our memory crystals. We do not understand how, but your music touches old patterns in our minds. The council chamber was even more magnificent than Captain Hyun had described. 7 tall Kiri sat in their crystal thrones, glowing with anticipation. Captain Hyun and his team stood to one side, guarded but no longer. Prisoners, Songmi, called Aaron. Are you all right? I'm fine, Songmi answered. She looked around the chamber, studying the crystal formations on the walls and ceiling. This room was built to carry sound perfectly. The harmonizer rose from its throne. Human musician, you have created vibrations that puzzle us. Your life, song reaches patterns we thought only true consciousness could touch. Songmi bowed politely. I am honored to perform for you. Before you begin, said the mind seeker, You must understand, if your music truly shows consciousness, we will know. But if it is just clever programming, we will also know. The consequences for your people depend on what we hear. I understand, Songmi said. She opened her violin case and lifted out the instrument. It was old and well-loved, made of earth wood that had traveled across the galaxy with her. This is a violin, she explained to the Curie. It makes music when I draw this bow across the strings. She played a few test notes. The sound rang through the crystal chamber, creating echoes that lasted for several seconds. The Curie Council members leaned forward, fascinated. The vibrations are complex, observed the mind seeker. Multiple frequencies working together. Songmi smiled. That's called harmony. Now let me sing for you. She began with the same Korean lullaby she had hummed from the ship, but this time she sang the words softly in her native language. The melody was simple, but her voice carried emotions that had been passed down through generations. As she sang, something amazing happened. The crystal walls of the chamber began to glow in patterns that matched the rhythm of her song. Colors flowed through the crystal like liquid light, creating visual music that the Curie could see as well as hear. The council members started making soft, musical sounds. Not the sharp ringing of alarm, but gentle tones that harmonized with Songmi's voice. Impossible, whispered the mind seeker. She is creating resonance patterns that match our deepest consciousness frequencies. Songmi finished the first verse and began to play her violin along with her singing. The combination of human voice and stringed instrument created music unlike anything the Curie had ever experienced. Captain Hyun watched in amazement as the entire chamber filled with swirling colors. The crystal formations responded to every note, every word, creating a light show that reflected the emotions in the music. She's not just singing, Dr. G whispered to him. She's translating human consciousness into a language they can understand. The harmonizer's light pulsed in rhythm with the music. For the first time since the humans had arrived, it spoke with wonder instead of suspicion. This song, it tells of care and protection, of a mother watching over her child, of love that crosses time and distance. Songmi nodded, still singing. The lullaby told the story of a mother's love, sung in words the Curie could not understand, but in emotions they recognized completely. As she reached the final verse, Songmi made the music even more complex. She added variations to the melody, weaving in mathematical patterns that the Curie associated with consciousness. She had studied their responses during her performance and learned to speak their language of vibration. The chamber walls now pulsed with golden light. Every Curie in the room was singing along, their crystal voices creating harmonies that made the music even more beautiful. When the song ended, silence filled the chamber. The light slowly faded back to their normal glow. The harmonizer stood up from its throne. Human Songmi, what you have done should be impossible. Why? She asked. You have sung the ancient patterns, the vibrations that were old when our civilization was young. But you are not Curie. How do you know our oldest songs? Songmi thought carefully before answering. Maybe consciousness makes the same patterns everywhere in the universe. Maybe all living beings share something deep inside, even when we look different on the outside. The mind seeker stepped forward. The music you created, it came from memory, from emotion, from love. These are things that cannot be programmed into machines. No, agreed Songmi. They can only come from a living heart. The 7 council members began making musical sounds together, creating a complex song that filled the chamber with blue and purple light. The voice translated for the humans. The council sings agreement. You have proven that humans possess consciousness. You are not empty constructs, but true living beings. Captain Hyun felt relief wash over him. Then you accept us as equals? The harmonizer's light grew brighter. More than equals, partners. Your music has shown us new ways to understand consciousness. We wish to learn more about human songs. Songmi smiled and raised her violin again. I would be happy to teach you. Music is meant to be shared. But even as she prepared to play another song, She noticed something troubling. Some of the council members were making urgent sounds and their light was beginning to pulse quickly. "What's wrong?" she asked. The harmonizer turned toward the chamber's main viewing screen, which showed the space around their planet. "The warrior fleets," it said grimly. "They were summoned when we first discovered you. They come to cleanse what we thought was artificial intelligence threatening our world." On the screen, Song-Mi could see dozens of Kiri warships approaching. They were still hours away but getting closer. "Can you call them off?" asked Captain Hyun. "We are trying," said the harmonizer, "but they may not believe that we have changed our minds about you." Song-Mi gripped her violin tighter. The music had saved them from one danger, but now a bigger threat was coming. Time was running out. The Kiri warships filled the viewing screen like angry stars. Song-Mi could see their crystal hulls glowing red with battle readiness. In 3 hours, they would reach the planet. "How many ships?" asked Captain Hyun. 47 vessels, replied the harmonizer. "Each one carries enough firepower to destroy your ship and crack our planet's surface." The Mindseeker was working frantically at a crystal communication device. "They will not listen to our calls. The fleet commander believes we have been compromised by the artificial intelligence." Song-Mi set down her violin and walked to the viewing screen. "What if I could reach them the same way I reached you?" "Impossible," said one of the council members. "The fleet is too far away for direct sound transmission." "But you have communication crystals," Dr. G pointed out. "Could those carry Song-Mi's music to the ships?" The harmonizer's light pulsed thoughtfully. "The battle frequency is open. All ships monitor it for combat orders. If we could send music through that channel, then the entire fleet would hear it," finished Song-Mi. "How long would I have?" "The fleet commander will give us one chance to explain before attacking. Perhaps 5 minutes." Song-Mi picked up her violin again. 5 minutes to save 2 worlds. I can work with that." The voice began connecting Song-Mi's instrument to the planet's main communication crystal. The device was huge, reaching from floor to ceiling and hummed with stored energy. "Are you sure about this?" Captain Hyun asked her. "If it doesn't work, it will work," Song-Mi said quietly. "Music speaks to the heart before the mind has time to doubt." Lieutenant Day was monitoring the fleet's approach. 2 hours until they reach us. The crystal communication device activated with a deep, resonant tone. Song-Mi tested the connection by playing a few soft notes. Immediately, the crystal began to glow brighter. "Your music is now being transmitted to every ship in the fleet," said the harmonizer. On the viewing screen, they could see the lead warship. It was enormous, bristling with crystal weapons that could turn the human ship into dust. A harsh voice came through the speakers. "High Council of the Home Crystal, you have 30 seconds to explain why you have not destroyed the artificial intelligence threat." The harmonizer stepped forward. "Fleet Commander Resonance, the beings are not artificial. They are living creatures, with consciousness." "Impossible. Our scans show they possess no life essence. They are empty constructs designed to deceive us. Commander, we ask you to listen. We will prove their consciousness through vibration." There was a pause. Then the harsh voice returned. "You have 5 minutes. After that, we cleanse this system of the contamination." Song-Mi took a deep breath and began to play. She started with the Korean lullaby, but this time she added something new. During her performance for the council, she had learned how Kiri consciousness worked. Now she wove those patterns into her music, creating a song that spoke in both human and Kiri languages of the heart. The crystal chamber filled with swirling lights as her music traveled through the planet's communication network. On every warship, in the fleet, Kiri warriors heard sounds they had never imagined possible. Song-Mi sang about Earth, about blue skies and green forests. She sang about children laughing and parents caring for their young. She sang about the loneliness of space and the joy of finding new friends among the stars. As her song reached the fleet, something wonderful happened. The red glow of the warships began to change. First one ship, then another, dimmed their battle lights and began to glow with softer colors. On the lead ship, Fleet Commander Resonance stood frozen. The music was unlike anything in the vast libraries of Kiri knowledge, yet it spoke to memories buried deep in every crystal consciousness. "Commander," said one of the ship's officers, "the vibration patterns. They match the ancient consciousness. Frequencies." "I know," the commander replied softly. "I can feel it too." Songmi's music grew more complex as she added violin harmonies to her voice. She played melodies that told of wonder and discovery, of the courage needed to travel between stars, of the hope that somewhere in the vast universe, no one had to be alone. Throughout the fleet, Kiri warriors began to sing along. They didn't know the words, but they understood the emotions. The music spoke of things that mattered to all conscious beings regardless of what they were made of. "Impossible," whispered Fleet Commander Resonance. "Machines cannot create such beauty." The Mindseeker's voice came through the communication channel. "Commander, the music comes from memory, from love, from consciousness itself. No artificial being could sing of things it has never felt." Songmi reached the final movement of her performance. She played a melody that combined the Korean lullaby with Kiri harmonic patterns, creating something that belonged to both species, and neither. It was a song of unity, of different forms of life recognizing each other across the darkness of space. When the music ended, the entire fleet hung silent in space. Their weapons were powered down, their lights glowing soft blue and purple. Fleet Commander Resonance spoke again, but this time the harsh tone was gone. "High Council, we felt the consciousness in that song." "How is this possible?" the harmonizer answered proudly. "Because consciousness takes many forms, Commander. These humans hide their life essence within, but they express it through art. And music and emotion, they are as alive as we are, just different." "Permission to land," said the commander. "I wish to hear this music in person." Over the next several hours, ships from the fleet began landing on the crystal planet. Kiri warriors who had come to fight instead came to listen as Songmi performed concert after concert, each one teaching them something new about human consciousness. "Captain," Hyun established formal diplomatic relations between Earth and the Kiri civilization. Plans were made for cultural exchanges, with Songmi leading a program to teach humans and Kiri about each other's music and art. Dr. G worked with Kiri scientists to share knowledge about different forms of life. Lieutenant Day helped plan security, arrangements for the new friendship. Arin became the first human ambassador to the Kiri world, but it was Songmi who became the bridge between two species. Every day she performed for mixed audiences of humans and Kiri, creating music that belonged to both worlds. 3 months later, as the Horizon prepared to return to Earth with Kiri ambassadors aboard, Songmi stood in the crystal chamber where she had first proved human consciousness. The harmonizer was with her, and together they created a duet that made the entire city ring with harmony. "Your music saved 2 worlds," the harmonizer said when their song ended. Songmi smiled. "Music doesn't belong to any one species. It belongs to everyone who can feel." As the human ship lifted off toward the stars, carrying the promise of friendship, between worlds, Songmi's lullaby continued to echo through the crystal towers, a reminder that consciousness comes in many forms, and sometimes the most important truths are the ones we sing rather than speak.